Over there!
We can't let him get away!
Too late, fool! You will not escape! Us? What in the name of... Gary?
I'm sorry, okay? I hadn't prepped this part of the dungeon yet. I haven't had the time.
But you don't suffer from this, do you? For more than 2 years, you've helped us to enhance our tools, grow our map libraries, and given us a warm welcome in the community of map makers and game masters. We are honored to be part of this community, and all we can say is thank you.
Bring it on.
Hello and welcome everyone. It is Tuesday and we have switched to winter time, so you might feel you might have a little time difference than usually. But we in Austria, we have switched to winter time, so it's 8 p.m. here in Vienna. And it is our regular what is it? It's Tuesday, I said. Right, it's community time. So it's our community stream. My name is Till. I'm one of the founders of DungeonFog. And today we are going to talk about all the new things that are going on here in the DungeonFog sphere. I'm going to answer your questions. So if you have any, post them in chat. Add a little question in front of it so I can see it. If not, that's fine. I will do my best to catch your question. And we are going to talk about a few things that are happening this week, this month, in the upcoming weeks. And that's it. That's what we're going to do tonight. So let's get started. First of all, it's November, which means that for us, it is a great opportunity to do something like a Mapvember event. And this is exactly what we're doing. And I told you that I had great news because I was speaking to someone and this someone agreed to join us for this event. John 4, many of you might know him. He has a great newsletter. He has an amazing website and he has really good advice on map making and game mastering, role-playing tips. So John 4, who's running roleplayingtips.com, has joined us for this Mapvember event, and he helped us to create 30 prompts for you that will guide you through this month and will help you to create an amazing dungeon based on the 5-room dungeon concept that he kind of invented. And we are really proud to work with him on that, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. So what is Mapvember? For those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you know. Mapvember is the map-making equivalent of Inktober. It's a month where we spend our time creating a new map, and we're dedicating a few, probably not even hours, a few minutes the day into creating a nice little dungeon, creating a map. That's what the idea, that's what the spirit of Mapvember is all about. And this is what we want to do with you. So what we did was we sat down with John and we have converted his concept, his idea of the 5-room dungeon into... I'm trying to scroll, but for some reason it is really slow. Into specific prompts. And we're kicking this off with 6 categories. So the first category has been released already and you can find it on the website. The link for that I'm going to post here in the chats. The link is DungeonFog.com/Mapvember2021. And there you can find all those prompts, and ideally you can grab them, download them, save them, use them, do whatever you like with them. We think they are quite inspiring and I hope you like them. So the first prompt is all about the origins of your dungeon. So you're having a few questions there that you're being asked in our Mapvember prompt sheet number 1, and that is, for example, what is the background story of the dungeon? What was or is its purpose in the world? All you need to do is take that question to yourself, ask it yourself, and write down a few sentences that help you define the origins, the purpose of that dungeon before you really start working on it. Because I think that is quite helpful. If you take all those questions, if you reflect them, and then once you have them, you can then start working on the dungeon. So next question would be, what type of genre would the dungeon reflect? And we're giving you a few examples, but I'm pretty sure you know what we're talking about. Like, is it a mystery? Is it an exploration genre? Is it a horror genre? What kind of horror genre? Is body or cosmic horror? Is it classic fantasy? Is it sci-fi, cyberpunk? So once you know that, you already know the purpose of this dungeon in the world, and you already know in what kind of genre you want to create that specific dungeon. So the third party is, I think, a question that we often ignore when we start map making, because we think of the things that we like instead of asking the question, what does our party like? So the third question is, what's your party's preference on combat, roleplay, and puzzles? And I think that is a quite important, if you want to have a great game with your friends, that is a quite important question, because that also sets the tone of where should that dungeon go. So we have some lore, we have a genre, we have a good understanding of what the party likes to do. Next one is basically about pacing the dungeon. So how long do you plan to run the dungeon? Should it be a one-shot or more than one session? Once you know the answer to that, you know how much you can expend on the dungeon design there. And last question for this week's prompts is, how difficult do you want the dungeon to be? I think that is also a valid question. Are you building something for early game, like level 1 to level 4 players, or are you actually building a dungeon that is more aimed towards mid game, which could be defined somewhere between well, if you go by the regular books, it would be somewhere level 5 to level 8. Or is it end game regular books? Then it would be somewhere between level 8, level 11, because that's where usually the books end. Or is it even a high tier campaign that goes beyond level 12, probably to level 20? Because the way that, once you know that, that is heavily impacting your dungeon design. So this is first week's prompt, and we are going to release for the whole Mapvember, so through November, we're going to release here on the website all the prompts as a collection, and you can look at them and you can review them. So if you have no idea what this 5-room dungeon concept is that John 4 introduced and that I'm a big fan of, then you can find more information here on our website. We had John do a little introduction to it. And of course, you can go to role-playing tips and grab. There is a whole book about that is basically free to download as a PDF. All you need to do is you need to sign up for the newsletter at roleplayingtips.com, which I highly recommend, because I'm getting a lot of newsletters. I'm pretty sure everyone does, but those are the ones where I regularly stop and read, because I find the advice that you're getting through the newsletters quite helpful. I've read a few of them and integrated a few of those ideas into my games. So on a personal level, this is a recommendation. I can really recommend that. It's very helpful. And if you have still no idea what a 5-room dungeon is, let me give you a very quick pitch. It is basically a concept, and here we have a little example of that. It is a concept that allows you to create a story-driven dungeon based on 5 core rooms. Now, there's an important part about that says it doesn't have to be a single room. It can be 5 areas. And here in the example, you can see that I kind of used that that concept here. And the 5 rooms are the the guardian, which is guarding the entrance. So it's the entrance with the guardian. It's a puzzle that is going from combat into more social encounter role-playing, probably teasing the minds of your players. Then a setback, something that changes the pace or the expectations of your players. 4, the climax, the big battle. And 5, the reward. Now that sounds super simple, and it actually is. But if you want to know more about the details, how should you pace your Guardian combat or your Guardian encounter? What should you do with puzzles or riddles? What's a setback and why do you need that? Then I would highly recommend to read that and or to follow our prompts, because that makes everything quite clear to you. And by the way, here you can see the puzzle is actually more than just one room. It is a combination of different rooms and different role play encounters, puzzles and riddles. Yeah, that's it. That's Mapvember. We are hoping that you partake in this event with us. And you can, if you have finished a dungeon at the end, I think somewhere it's, let me zoom out a little bit. This is really weird. There you go. Share those maps through social media. We're tracking them on social media, or through our public library, or on our Discord, wherever you like. Tag them with hashtag Mapvember, and it's Mapvember21. And we will collect those maps, and at the end of this event, we will create a little gallery with all the different maps that you have created, and we will, of course, share them with you. So that is Mapvember, and once again, a big thank you to roleplayingtips.com, and thank you very much, John, for joining us in this event. It makes me really proud. I'm happy to do that with you. And to all of you, enjoy, have fun. This is what is going to keep us busy in November. But it's not the only thing that is keeping us busy in November. And that is, we have quite a few updates rolling in throughout our different products. So the DungeonFog Battle Map Editor is getting a big update to our asset service. It is, initially we hoped that we could release it this week. Now we've taken a step back and we said, okay, we are finished, but because it's such a big change to the whole system, we want to take 1 additional week of testing just to make sure that it's not creating chaos once we release it. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, we have been working for a good part of this year. We have been working on a completely new content management system, which means internally, on a way to distribute all our assets to you. We have been struggling in summer. We have been struggling with the problem that especially our customers in the US had problems with connections and the time to get access to all the assets in our service. So this is going to change all of that. This is going to be a CDN cloud-based distribution of the assets around the world, which means we have several servers through Amazon. We don't have several servers. Amazon has a lot of servers. And through Amazon, we can make sure that you are requesting the assets from the nearest server to you and not from our European Germany servers. Right. I completely lost track of what I was trying to say. Now I remember. This is being finished this week, and we will roll out the release next week. And we will also start slowly rolling out more stuff to the asset service, which also involves adding more artists to our marketplace and adding Patreon integration to marketplace. And again, we wanted to do this week. Actually, today should have been my announcement day for, oh my god, it's live, you can test it now. So this is being pushed back by a week because we then have more time for testing and can make sure that everything works as intended. In regards to Deus, there is a big update coming, and let me quickly check my calendar. It is scheduled for it's not telling me the exact date, just a week. Let me be more precise for you. It is scheduled for the week of the 15th to the 19th of November, which means that next week it's not going to be a Deus update, but the week after we are going to release quite a big Deus update, including scaling and map size, including a first implementation of blueprints, including probably the first setting tabs for grid adjustments, and advanced text search for assets, and so on and so forth. So this is quite a huge update, and we're going to finish all of that up next week, and the week after we're going to publish that. So there's another big thing coming in November, as well as mark your calendars with the 16th of November. It is when we are going to do our little community celebration. We have had our 4th anniversary since founding, our 3rd anniversary since official launch of our company, DungeonFog, the online battle map editor. We already had that anniversary, but we want to celebrate this new year that we are starting now with you on November the 16th. And we're going to have a few surprises for you and a few things that I'm quite proud to finally share and show to you. Varanasi says, oh, hooray! More internal testing. Well, thank you. It is actually, I think it's quite helpful. If you have, and we have quite a decent amount of users. We've passed the 250,000 users, and if you think about releasing an asset service that is distributing all the assets and then it is breaking, you really don't want to have that with a few 100,000 people accessing. Yeah, well, ask Andy. He still thinks that we should have more internal testing, but we're doing as much as we can, and whenever we get the feeling that we need a little bit more of testing, we're doing it. Question from Craft Crazy RPG: will Deus end up with a nice right side toolbar like DungeonFog has? I understand Deus is still young as it will grow with time. So right now it already has a right side toolbar, but we are actually, with the settings, we are also introducing a way to switch the toolbar positions. It's not going to happen with this with the upcoming patch. This one is more or less just establishing the core for our settings, but we will slowly populate our settings with more options, and that will mean that you have what is regularly your right side toolbar could be your left side toolbar if you prefer to have it on the other side. That was a question by Craft Crazy RPG. Then Forecaster, that just means they have to get creative and make some non-prop maps. Well, yeah, non-prop maps, interesting. Bodhi has already gone deep into Ghostbusters, and there are no props, only Zool. Zool. Well, I think from my side, that's basically it for updates. I'm pretty sure I forgot something. I had such a long list. Oh, right. The Battle Madness community maps have been closed down. The voting has been closed. So internally, we already know the winners. We are now preparing all of that, and we are going to use the opportunity to have to announce the winner of the Map Battle Community Madness. I think it was called something like that. On the 16th, and we're going to celebrate our anniversary with you, and we are also going to announce the winner of the Community Battle Madness to you. I'm pretty sure I can come up with different ways to pronounce that contest. Yeah, probably a shorter title would have been clever. The Community Map Fight. No, that doesn't sound as cool as Map Battle Madness. I think I like it. The MBCM. Thank you, Lord God. That actually sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a championship, like the MBCM champion. I love it. Nice one. Oh my god, that really sounds like a wrestling title. Okay. You probably. Yeah, you're right. Ahmed Colville might be complaining a little bit. All right, guys. The winner will be announced on the 16th, together with our anniversary celebration. We are now into Mapvember. We are late on the newest asset pack, but that has a reason, and the reason will be revealed on the 16th. And there are a lot of new asset things coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about them. I think that was quite oh my god, I only spent 22 minutes dishing out all those information. So let's have a few questions. If you still have questions, throw them at me. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to have this as a quick update on the DungeonFog sphere. Because that's it from my side. What is your dog doing? I have no idea. Where's my dog? Oh, there he is. He's sound asleep next to me. Come on here. Let's say hi. Hello. Zeus is slowly growing and getting bigger and getting more and more hungry. Still a bit leaking, so we have to clean up a few times after him. But he started to sleep through the night, so now at least that issue is not an issue anymore. So he lets us sleep. And yeah. And he is deeply in love with our cat. So Zeus is our dog, Hades is our cat. And they are best buddies. It's really weird. I always hoped that one day we have a dog and a cat who like each other, because the previous ones, they didn't dislike each other, they were just ignoring each other. But those two, they're hard to separate. Like they're playing outside in the garden together, they're trying to sleep together, they're eating together, they're drinking together. So this is quite amazing. Unfortunately, Hades is always out when I'm streaming. Like he tends to he's not a how do you call that? He's not a cat that just stays inside, but we let him out. Which means that he is there are questions coming in. I'm not ignoring the questions. I'm just blabbing about my animals because I love them. Let me finish my sentence on Hades, then I will come back to the topic. So I will show you Hades one day. I will show him to you. Unfortunately, he's not here at the moment. So thank you, forecaster. Let me come back to the question. Are you going to answer Wolf's question above? Well, I haven't seen Wolf's question above, but I will go up there and answer it now. When allowing more artists, do you plan any curation for whatever style matches the default DungeonFog? The answer is yes. So we are trying to. We're definitely starting with a curated marketplace, which means that you can't just publish your own assets without having an approval cycle through us. And we are trying to focus on assets that generally fit. Every artist has a different style, but there is a general theme, you could say, that goes to hand-drawn, handcrafted assets rather than 3D realistic assets. So we are starting our marketplace with the first type, the handcrafted type of assets. And so we are curating those assets at the beginning. We already know that, so you already know it. Kiora is part of this. Forgotten Adventures is part of this, and both will release a lot more assets once the marketplace goes live. I'm already talking to Chibin Grove. They will start contributing with assets. I hope that we will win 2 Minutes Tabletop to be part of it. So there are a few artists I would really like to. I mean, Mike Schley would be amazing if we have Mike Schley as an artist in there as well. But once the marketplace is live, we can actually reach out to those artists and tell them, look, there's a marketplace. It's manageable for the artists, so they can manage all their asset stuffs themselves. But it will be curated through us. Next question. Are you going to... Oh, that was the question from Forecaster. Lord God, question. Is the intent of the Mapvember to make a map with every prompt or create one map after completing all prompts? No. The intention is to create one map, and if you need inspiration through the prompts, then you can follow along and answer those prompts. It is for you. It's not for us. It's for you. It's something that should get your creative juice flowing. So if you want to go ahead, look at the 5-room dungeon concept at roleplayingtips.com and just have a go. It doesn't even have to be a 5-room dungeon. It should be, what we are offering you is inspiration and prompts that you can follow along. And at the end, you should have a perfect, nice little dungeon. But if you're on fire, just go ahead and create your dungeons and share them with the hashtag Mapvember21. And we will be more than happy to have your maps in there. Right, I'm scrolling through the rest of the stuff. Question, can Tony, I think it's Tony, yes, it's Tony, release a style guide for creation of assets that feel similar? That's a really nice question. It's a great question, I wanted to say. I will ask him. I have no idea if he can create something like a style guide, but I'm pretty sure he would be more than happy to give some advice and probably create something like a, like a style recommendation. I know that if you look at Tony's assets, they are always a little bit on the dark side. So they're not the happy, glowing, colorful assets. They're more like the grungy, dark, probably a little bit gothic assets. But I'm pretty sure that if I ask him, he will be more than happy to create a little style recommendation for you. There's an interesting question from the Incubus. Is it possible to make brushes act as light sources or make them full bright? So you can definitely not convert a brush into a light source. That's not working. If you want to make it full bright in terms of shining, the only way right now is to play with the colorization of the brush and ramp up the lightness on the color wheel. And then probably add a light source on top that is adding to that brush. But you can't turn a brush itself into a light source right now. Maybe use the future tag system to have style tag. I'm not sure what that is about. Right. Yeah, the curation, because I can see the discussion here. The curation is from a technical perspective, it's not that if you want to sell assets, you have to have a contract with us, and you have and through us you have to have a contract with the payment provider, which means that there has to be an onboarding where we do contracts, where we review what you have, and where we then add you to the whole artist treatment, which means that we need to make sure that you are someone, as an artist, that you are someone whose assets are fitting into the marketplace, because we want to make sure that if we onboard you, your assets are sold there as well. And generally speaking, we want to make sure that whatever we offer through our marketplace is at some kind of equal quality, or to say it in other words, we're trying to prevent that everyone is creating in Microsoft Paint assets and uploading them and then calling them marketplace assets just because you can do so, because that would actually reduce the quality of the whole marketplace a lot. So that's the reason why we're curating it, at least for the moment. Wow, chat is very active today. I'm trying to read up and catch up with what you're all saying here. Yes, so you can see that Bodhisaurus has shared our suggestion panel, which, by the way, the link to our suggestion board where you can suggest things to DungeonFog. By the way, this is a great time to slowly put the dust off that link, because the community voting for our community asset pack, our annual community Christmas asset pack, is coming up. And that is the place where we are going to look for your asset requests that have been piling up there over the year. So if you want to throw out some more asset suggestions and add them to your wish list, follow the link dungeonfog.com/suggestions and drop asset suggestions in there, because in December we are going to start a call for those and collect them, and then at the end of the year Tony is going to create all those assets, well, not all of them, but at least 50 of them, 50 to 100 of them, into a community asset pack. We've been doing this since the beginning, and we want to continue that. So if you have ideas, if you're missing assets, go to dungeonfog.com/suggestions and put them on the wish list. There is a question from Varunazi. Maybe I've missed it, but did Walls and Paths tool launch already? No, it didn't. Tony, Andy just switched back on continuing to work on it. So carefully, I would say end of November is when we're going to release it. We wanted to release it early November, but then there was a lot going on with the asset manager. So we pushed it back a little bit, which means that Andy has now started to work on the paths tool, or has picked up working on the paths tool. And I think we might see the first implementation for internal testing in mid-November, but then it will probably take until the end of November until we make it publicly available. Yes, exactly, Batwolf. The aspect of curated assets is that I'm looking for being able to easily find matching assets is exactly it. They're never going to be visually identical to the rest of the art style of the artist. But I had a long conversation with about that with Keora and Forgotten Adventures, and every artist knows that this is what the users are doing, is they're looking for matching assets. Every artist would love to have all the assets in their own repertoire, but that's just not possible because, as we all know, as users, we come up with the weirdest requests, and they might not be available from that one specific artist. But if other artists might offer that and might fill that gap, it would be amazing if those assets are even slightly in the same sphere of visualization. And again, that's why we are at least going for hand-drawn style and not every style, because a 3D rendered prop would never fit into the hand style, the crafted way that our DungeonFog maps should look like. Exactly. Right. Okay. Guys, my dog is doing weird noises, which usually results in a puddle. So I'm going to end my stream tonight, and I'm going to be part of the Orkenspalter stream this Thursday. I don't know when. I just know that we're starting. It might be somewhere around 7 p.m. GMT +2. So if you want to be part of another what, then join us this Thursday at Orkenspalter TV, and then I will do my best to run a map making and welcome to the Mapness stream on Thursday evening. We will see. So until then, I say thank you very much as always. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And as always, happy map making. Bye.